welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get That Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Big Boofy Skirman and Mr. Tony T-Bone Guarino. How is everybody doing after yet another immensely profitable playoff weekend?
I'm doing great, man. All four games were awesome from a viewing standpoint. I thought they were all exciting and fun. And then obviously from a betting standpoint, we kicked butt yet again. And I'm looking to just keep on rolling through the playoffs here.
That's what we like to hear, Boof. I almost said Tone. You're Boof. Tone, what's up, baby?
All I do is win, no matter what.
10-1. I know we're gonna get to it, but 10-1. 10-1, Boof. I don't even want to waste it. I don't want to waste my breath. I don't want to waste the words. Boof, just get to it. Recap it. This is awesome.
Amen, baby. Locks went 4-1 last week. Winners were the 49ers and Packers. First half under 24 points. Rams +3. Bills first half plus half a point. And then we tweeted out the Bengals and Bills as a 6-point teaser. The only loser was the Bills +2, which I know Nate Dogg is still kicking himself about because I know he missed a big one that he was sharing with all of us.
Oh, yes.
If you would like to share your tale of woe with the people.
Yeah, all we needed was the Bills to play defense for 13 seconds at the end of the game, and I win $35,000. Yeah. It was a rough one. We had the Bills +4.5 and several parlays, totaling that. And I thought we might actually get lucky once it went into overtime, because once we did go into overtime, we actually triggered another one because we got the last player prop. And so if the Bills just don't let up a touchdown on the first drive of overtime, then we win over 50 G's. So it was a rough end to what was a very, very awesome weekend for the podcast, and still for my bank account. But oh my God, almost take a month off of work type of weekend.
Yeah, that's what we got this week for, baby.
Absolutely, man. Let's get back on the horse.
Heck yeah, keep the run going. Well, let's not waste time, even though there's not a lot of games that we have to waste time with. Obviously, we're down to the nitty gritty here in the conference championship round. So the first to go is the AFC, where we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Chiefs laying 7.5, and your over/under at 54.5.
Still love my Chiefs, even though they did me dirty last week. Maybe it was their way of saying Pat Mahomes is like, bro, I was your boy, man. I'm gonna mess up your day. But yeah, I still think the Chiefs win this game. If this game comes anywhere close to that Buffalo Bills game, then we're in for one hell of a game again, one hell of a Sunday. But I think the Chiefs do win this game. But 7.5 points for Joe Burrow and the Bengals, I think, is just too much. That Bengals offense is very explosive, and they're going against the Chiefs defense that, when they've faced competent offenses, still gives up a lot of points and yards. Like, this narrative that the Chiefs defense is all of a sudden top half of the league or good is just false. If you look at the schedule, anytime they played anybody good, they've given up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and they've really kind of feasted and got healthy against the bad teams. The last time they played the Bengals, Joe Burrow threw for over 400 yards, and they gave up 34 points. And that was with the Bengals starting slow. So I do think the Chiefs get it done with the home field advantage, but we're laying over a touchdown to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I just think that's too much. I do love the Chiefs to win, but love the 7.5 with the Bengals.
Yeah, I see this game very similar to how you see it. And kind of as a theme since last week, I know I've kind of shared this with you guys, is that I felt all 8 teams going into last week were very much capable of winning the Super Bowl. I thought in all 4 of the games, either team could have won. So, I'd rather have the team that's getting points rather than laying points. And as we move on here, I pretty much feel the same way. And in this case with the Bengals just beat the Chiefs a month ago, and you're giving me over a touchdown with them. Now, I know Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times last week, but the Chiefs defense isn't as good as the Titans are. And the Bengals still won that game. And Joe Burrow just has this mental toughness about him where stuff like that doesn't get him rattled. He just gets up and throws an 18-yard completion to get a first down anyway, and they keep rolling. So give me the Bengals plus 7.5. I think if the Chiefs manage to win, it will be a shootout. So if you made me, I would take the over 54.5, but that's just too high of a number for me to really feel comfortable doing it. But the other one that I really like in this is the Bengals team total of over 23 points. And Nate already shared for you why I expect the Bengals to score a lot of points. Burrow threw for over 400 yards against these guys. Again, just a month ago, they scored 34. So give me the Bengals over 23 and give me the Bengals plus 7.5. And I am down to lock both of those if you are good, sir.
Oh, you know it, baby. Let's start the weekend off with a double lock and go 2-0 and get that money.
Oh, yeah, get that money indeed. So let's go to the NFC Championship, which is the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams laying 3.5, and you're over-under at 45.5.
So you probably already know where I'm going with this. I'm going to take the points. So give me the 49ers plus 3.5. San Francisco has already beaten the Rams twice this year. And that winning streak, as a matter of fact, goes back an additional 2 years. So they've beaten them 6 times in a row. One of the things that has really made the Rams great down the stretch here is their defense, in particular, their defensive line. And I think the 49ers are one of the few teams that can actually, handle those guys. Not necessarily, you're never going to dominate an Aaron Donald, but I think they're able to contain him, and they're able to handle that front. They have the 3rd highest offensive line rating on the year, according to Pro Football Focus. Their left tackle got a rating of 98.3, which was the highest rating given out to any player at any position in the league this year. And San Francisco just has an attitude about them and a confidence about them. So I think they go into L.A., and at the very least, they keep it close. And I'll take the team that's getting over a field goal in this one.
Yeah, Boof, I totally agree. And I just think this is just one of those deals where it's a bad matchup for the Rams. Niners 6-0 the last 6 times they've played the Rams, and 2-0 this year. And for all those, there's this narrative out there for some reason that it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. And I don't get that. I don't. If you sweep them in the regular season, that second game, if the team hasn't made enough adjustments after the first loss to beat you, I don't understand why people think that all of a sudden they have a better chance to beat you the 3rd time. It doesn't make sense to me. Even if you go back, there's even plenty of data here. Since the NFL merger in 1970, there have been 22 cases, actually, where a team has swept its divisional opponent in the regular season. Or when they meet again in the playoffs, the teams that have already swept the regular season are actually 14-8 when meeting for the 3rd time in the playoffs. So well over half the time, most of the time, actually, the teams that go 2-0 in the regular season and sweep the regular season win the 3rd time in the playoffs. And that shouldn't surprise most people because they're good enough to win the first 2. Why would they not win the 3rd one? So I definitely think the 49ers are the way to go here. I think they're the smart side, smart money. Sprinkle even a little bit on the money line if you want to bump your payout up a little bit. But we're getting the hook with a 3.5, even if it's a close game, even if the Rams pull one out. Still think we're good there. And I am down to lock the Niners plus 3.5 if you are there, Mr. Big Boofy Chiefy.
Yeah, let's lock it in, baby.
Oh, yeah. Lock it in. Get that money.
All right, well, short and sweet. That's the name of the game here this time of the year, but we still love it nonetheless. So, Boof, why don't you give us this very, very lengthy recap?
We got 3 of them for you this week, which I'm proud of. Anytime you have more locks than games on the slate, you're pretty much awesome at life. So, congrats to us. We've got Bengals team total over 23 points, Bengals plus 7.5, and the 49ers plus 3.5. And if you thought we're not capable of putting together a parlay for the people with only 2 games on the slate, You thought wrong. So, Nate, it's time, baby. Why don't you go ahead and do some parlays for the people?
It is time, baby. That's right. It's time for some parlays for the people. And by the way, Boof, the get out of jail free parlay did hit last week for plus 939.
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a little bit. I wish I was keeping track of this. We're going to do better at that next year. But I think it's the 5th one that's hit this year. And all of them are at least like plus 700. So if you just blindly rode with us on the get out of jail free parlay this year, you made a lot of money. And it's one of those things that, like, it can be frustrating because if you did it every year, and so there's like, 22 weeks now if you include the playoffs.
Yep.
You went 5-17, and that sounds awful. But the payout is so high that if you just trust it and trust that you're making good picks and putting in good parlays, it's the same as the regular picks that you do. It's just you're living in a different world where you're going to lose more than you win, but when you do win, you're winning a lot more money than you're putting at risk. So nicely done. Nate puts a lot of effort into this, and these are pretty much his babies. So nicely done on that this year, Nate.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And to echo what you were saying, to give a rough guesstimate here, I believe you're up about 20 units if you just put a unit on the get out of jail free all year. So we like that. We like that a lot. But to get moving on to the business at hand, what we're going to do it a little bit differently this week. We're just going to do one big one for you guys. And then once we get a little more clarification on who's in, who's out, because the left tackle for both teams is banged up a little bit, although Trent Williams, I'm pretty sure, is looking good to go. I will tweet out a get out of jail free for everybody tomorrow. So don't worry, we're still going to hook it up for the people. But for now, we're going to throw a big guy out there for everybody. We got to do at least one. So we managed to, and we do this again on FanDuel, on the same game parlay tab. That allows you just to stack as many things as you can. So between two games here, we got a 16-leg parlay for plus 162,000. I'm sorry, I lied, Boof. It's plus 1,621,914.
I love it when we won't even be allowed to place a $100 bet.
I mean, we like that a lot. We like that a lot. Like, actually, you can only place a $61 bet on this to win $1 million. So, I mean, why not? Let's get that money. And so we're going to start out with the Bengals plus 7.5. Pat Mahomes over 28.5. By the way, Pat Mahomes has gone over his rushing total in the first two playoff games, and it only went up 5 yards from last week. So we love that. Pat Mahomes over 28.5 rushing. Byron Pringle over 36.5 receiving. Did go under that last week against the Bills, but as a whole in the second half of the season, he has been targeted a lot more in that Chiefs offense and has gone over that total a lot more than he's gone under. Only a couple games he's gone under that total in the second half of the season. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown scorer, has scored a touchdown in 5 straight games, so we like that. Jamar Chase, everybody knows how electric he is. Got on the board last time these two teams played. I expect that to happen again. And we're going Bengals over 23.5 points. The reason I'm going over 23.5 is sometimes the totals in the same game parlay tab are slightly different. But the official over there still for the podcast is 23, and that is available separately on FanDuel as well. So moving on to the next game, we're going to go San Francisco 49ers money line and over 20.5 points for the 49ers for their team total. Moving on, we're going to Matt Stafford under 277.5 passing. We like that a lot. He's gone under 250 in both games against the Niners this year so far. So we're going Stafford under 277.5 passing. Tyler Higbee over 39.5 receiving. He has been going over that a lot, so we like that as well. Deebo Samuel We all know how heavily he is used rushing and passing. We're taking his receiving over 51.5. And then moving on, Elijah Mitchell over 69.5 rushing. Obviously, the Niners like to run the ball a lot, and that's one of the few places the Rams are susceptible, is on the ground. So we like Elijah Mitchell over 69.5 yards rushing. Matthew Stafford. We're going to do it again. Boofy lost a pizza box on it last week, but we're going to do a Matt Stafford over 2.5 yards rushing. QB's running the playoffs, baby. I say that. Now we're going to do something. We're going to literally do the opposite thing I just said, and we're going to take Jimmy Garoppolo under 2.5 yards rushing. The reason being, ever since he's gotten injured, he does not move at all. It's almost like the 49ers have said, we don't want you, like, please be safe, be careful, don't do anything. So he hasn't ran at all. And plus we expect the Niners to win, and I think he's going to take a couple knees. So he might actually be negative at the end of the game. And last two, we're going to go Deebo Samuel, anytime touchdown scorer. It's Deebo Samuel, man. He gets the ball in the end zone literally practically every game. And Cooper Kupp, anytime tutty as well. So that'll bring us to 16 legs, 1,621,914 on your odds, which means a $61 bet will win you $1 million. Let's get that money, people.
Let's get that money. Love it. Love it. Thank you as always for sharing, Nate. Make sure you guys are following us on all social media platforms at Big Boof Bets, so you can catch that get out of jail free parlay and our props that we'll be sharing for the week. And most importantly, best of luck to everybody, and let's get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money.